Zambia is a landlocked country located in southern Africa, bordered by Tanzania to the northeast, Malawi to the east, Mozambique to the southeast, Zimbabwe to the south, Botswana to the southwest, Namibia to the west, and Angola to the northwest. With a population of over 19.4 million people, Zambia is one of the most ethnically diverse countries in the world, with over 70 different ethnic groups and languages spoken. Zambia has a rich and complex history that dates back thousands of years, including the rise and fall of powerful pre-colonial empires and kingdoms. The country achieved independence from British colonial rule in 1964 and has since made significant progress in developing its economy and democratic institutions. Today, Zambia is known for its abundant natural resources, including copper, cobalt, and other minerals, as well as its diverse wildlife and stunning natural landscapes. The country is home to several national parks and game reserves, including South Luangwa National Park and Kafue National Park, which offer visitors the opportunity to see a wide variety of animals, including elephants, lions, leopards, and hippos. In this video, we shall be going back on memory lane to show you how this country came to be. But first, if you are new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our videos. The pre-colonial era. The region that is now Zambia was inhabited by various ethnic groups, including the Bantu-speaking people, as well as the Khoisan, who were hunter-gatherers. The region once was inhabited by the Khoisan and Batwa peoples until around 300 AD, when migrating Bantu began to settle the areas. It is believed the Khoisan people originated in East Africa and spread southwards around 150,000 years ago. The Twa people were split into two groups. The Kafue Twa lived around the Kafue Flats, and the Lukanga Twa lived around the Lukanga Swamp. Many examples of ancient rock art in Zambia, like the Mwelo rock paintings, Mumwa caves, and Natikufu cave, are attributed to these early hunter-gatherers. The Khoisan and especially the Twa formed a patron-client relationship with farming Bantu peoples across Central and Southern Africa, but were eventually either displaced by or absorbed into the Bantu groups. The Bantu people, or Abantu, meaning people, are an enormous and diverse ethno-linguistic group that comprise the majority of people in much of Eastern, Southern, and Central Africa. Due to Zambia's location at the crossroads of Central Africa, Southern Africa, and the African Great Lakes, the history of the people that constitute modern Zambians is a history of these three regions. The Bantu-speaking people migrated into the region from West and Central Africa around 2,000 years ago, bringing with them a range of agricultural practices and technologies. Over time, these groups developed distinct cultures and societies, with some forming powerful kingdoms and empires. One of the most significant pre-colonial kingdoms in what is now Zambia was the Luba Empire, which was founded in the 16th century and controlled a vast swath of territory in what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo, Zambia, and Angola. The Luba Empire was known for its sophisticated political system, which was based on a complex hierarchy of chiefs and nobles. Another important pre-colonial kingdom in Zambia was the Lunda Empire, which was founded in the 17th century and controlled much of the territory in what is now Zambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Lunda Empire was known for its highly centralized government and advanced metallurgy, which allowed them to produce iron tools and weapons. Other notable pre-colonial societies in Zambia include the Lozi people, who developed a complex system of governance and taxation, and the Tonga people, who were known for their advanced agricultural techniques and terraced farming practices. The Colonial Era. One of the earliest recorded Europeans to visit the area was the Portuguese explorer Francisco de Lacerda in the late 18th century. Lacerda led an expedition from Mozambique to the Kazimbe region in Zambia, with the goal of exploring and crossing southern Africa from coast to coast for the first time, and died during the expedition in 1798. The expedition was from then on led by his friend Francisco Pinto. This territory, located between Portuguese Mozambique and Portuguese Angola, was claimed and explored by Portugal in that period. Zambia's colonial era began in the late 19th century when the region came under the control of the British South Africa Company, which was founded by Cecil Rhodes. The company established a protectorate over the region, which was later incorporated into the British colony of Northern Rhodesia in 1911. The British colonial government established a system of indirect rule in Northern Rhodesia, which involved working through traditional chiefs and local authorities. This system allowed the British to maintain control over the region while minimizing their direct involvement in local affairs. One of the key activities of the colonial government in Northern Rhodesia was the development of the country's mining industry, particularly its copper mines. The British established mining companies and encouraged foreign investment in the industry, which grew rapidly in the early 20th century. However, the benefits of this economic growth were not evenly distributed, and many Zambians were left in poverty. The colonial government also imposed taxes and forced labor requirements on the local population, which led to significant social and economic hardship. In the 1940s and 50s, nationalist movements began to emerge in Northern Rhodesia, with groups such as the African National Congress and the Northern Rhodesia African National Congress advocating for greater political representation and rights for Black Africans. In 1962, the United National Independence Party, UNIP, was founded, with Kenneth Kaunda as its leader. UNIP called for the immediate and unconditional independence of Northern Rhodesia. A two-stage election held in October and December 1962 resulted in an African majority in the Legislative Council and an uneasy coalition between the two African nationalist parties. The council passed resolutions calling for Northern Rhodesia's secession from the Federation and demanding full internal self-government under a new constitution and a new National Assembly based on a broader, more democratic franchise. The Federation was dissolved on 31 December 1963, and in January 1964, Kaunda won the only election for Prime Minister of Northern Rhodesia. The colonial governor, Sir Evelyn Hone, was very close to Kaunda and urged him to stand for the post. Soon after, there was an uprising in the north of the country known as the Lumpa Uprising led by Alice Lenshina, Kaunda's first internal conflict as leader of the nation. Northern Rhodesia became the Republic of Zambia on 24 October 1964, with Kenneth Kaunda becoming the country's first president. Kaunda's government adopted a policy of non-alignment, which sought to maintain neutrality in the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. The country also played a prominent role in the struggle against apartheid in neighboring South Africa. The post-colonial era of Zambia. After gaining independence, Zambia faced several challenges, including economic instability, political unrest, and social inequality. In the early years of independence, the government pursued a policy of non-alignment, seeking to maintain neutrality in the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. The government also implemented a range of policies aimed at promoting economic growth and reducing poverty, including nationalizing key industries such as copper mining and implementing a system of price controls and subsidies. However, these policies did not always achieve their intended results, and Zambia faced significant economic challenges throughout the 70s and 80s, including a severe economic downturn caused by falling copper prices and a decline in international aid. In the 90s, Zambia began to implement a range of economic reforms aimed at promoting growth and reducing poverty. These reforms included the privatization of state-owned enterprises, the liberalization of trade and investment policies, and the introduction of market-oriented economic policies. Despite these reforms, Zambia still faces significant challenges, particularly in the areas of poverty and inequality. The country is ranked among the least developed countries in the world, with a high incidence of poverty and unemployment. In recent years, Zambia has also faced political and social unrest, including protests against government corruption and calls for greater political representation and human rights. Nevertheless, the country remains committed to building a brighter future for its people and has made significant progress in strengthening its democratic institutions and promoting economic growth and development. In August 2021, a new government took office following the country's presidential and parliamentary elections. The elections were won by Hakainde Hichilema, leader of the United Party for National Development, UPND, who defeated incumbent President Edgar Lungu of the Patriotic Front, PF. Hichilema won with a large margin, securing over 59% of the vote, while Lungu received just over 38%. Hichilema's victory was seen as a significant shift in Zambian politics, marking the first time that an opposition candidate had defeated an incumbent president in a peaceful transfer of power since the country's independence in 1964. Following his election victory, President Hichilema has moved quickly to implement his agenda, appointing a new cabinet and announcing a range of policy initiatives aimed at addressing the country's economic and social challenges. Hichilema's government has pledged to address a range of challenges facing the country, including high levels of poverty and unemployment, political corruption, and a struggling economy. The new government has also promised to promote greater transparency, accountability, and respect for human rights. One of the key priorities for the new government has been to address Zambia's significant debt burden, which has been a major constraint on the country's economic development. The government has begun negotiations with international creditors and has announced plans to restructure the country's debt, including seeking relief from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The government has also announced plans to promote greater transparency and accountability, including launching an anti-corruption commission and taking steps to improve the governance of the country's natural resources. However, the new government faces significant challenges in implementing its agenda, particularly in the face of a struggling economy and a legacy of political corruption. The government will need to work to build consensus and unity among the country's diverse ethnic and political groups to promote stability and progress. Thanks for watching. Did you enjoy this video? If you did, please subscribe to the channel for more entertaining videos.